How's it going, everybody? Now that Pixar's put out The Incredibles 2, that makes for 20 Pixar films so far to date. So, what a perfect time to rank all 20 Pixar films, my personal worst to best. Now, before I get started, definitely, it's my personal list. I know not everybody's going to agree. I know there'll be some disagreements, but definitely let me know what you think of which Pixar films you think are the worst to best. Give me your ranking in the comments down below. But yeah, let's get started with my ranking for number 20. So at number 20, I have The Good Dinosaur. To me, even though I like dinosaurs, this is the least rewatchable Pixar film to me. It just doesn't have a lot that I enjoy. I mean, the story wasn't that great to me. The animation was weird, especially for a Pixar film. So yeah, this is definitely the least rewatchable of Pixar films, in my opinion. At number 19, I have Cars 2. I mean, it's an okay film. I'm just not a big fan of Lightning McQueen, Mater, and all them. I'm not a huge Cars fan, really. I don't feel like these films are geared towards me. So, I mean, maybe if I was younger or if I had kids that watch them, I'd like these films more. But yeah, Cars 2 I definitely feel is the weakest of the Cars trilogy. At number 18, I have A Bug's Life. This is definitely the most forgettable of the Pixar films, I feel, just because nobody really talks about it anymore. Although it does have a really great cast. Some of it's interesting. It's just very forgettable. There's nothing ever really gripped or stuck with me, even after all these years, because I mean, I watched it when I was younger, and I've watched it when I'm older, and it's just never gripped me that much. At number 17, I have Brave. Another film I feel is kind of forgettable when it comes to Pixar films. I like Merida as a heroine. She's really nice, and it looks okay visually, but it's just, the story never really gripped me. It's very weird and all over the place. I mean, I'm just not really into that kind of stuff, really, although she is a great heroine. At number 16, I have Monsters University. Although this is a fun story, and I like the original Monsters, Inc., and it's cool they went back and did a prequel, this did feel like a very safe film that really didn't add too much, I guess I'm just not really a big fan of prequels. I mean, it's fun, you get to see their backstory, although I would have preferred a sequel to Monsters, Inc., but yeah, overall a fun but safe film. At number 15, I have Cars 3. This is the comeback story in this whole Cars trilogy, and like most comeback stories, it's pretty predictable, but there is some fun to be had, especially in the final third act of the film. But yeah, like I said, not a huge Cars fan, so this is still an okay film, but not for me. At number 14, I have Finding Dory. This wasn't a sequel that I really wanted, but I ended up liking more than I thought. I thought Ellen DeGeneres stepped back in the role as Dory, and she did a great job. The story of her backstory is actually pretty interesting. It doesn't really capture the same fun charm as the original Finding Nemo, but it's still a servable sequel. At number 13, I have Cars. I like the whole idea of the talking cars in a Pixar film. It has a nice cast. Lightning McQueen and company is all pretty good. I just feel like this whole franchise is geared towards younger audiences. That's why it doesn't resonate as much with me. But it still has some fun, and I definitely has some themes that are more adult-oriented that I don't know if younger audiences catch on to as much, but still okay. I'm just not a huge Cars fan. But I like this film the most out of the trilogy. At number 12, I have Up. I mean, where do I even begin with this movie? I mean, the opening sequence is just one of the most heartbreaking things you could ever watch, from a cartoon especially. But it doesn't really have the same style later on, but I still like Up a lot. It has some really great performances, some great visuals. Performance I really like is Edward Asner. I mean, he's always good in anything I've seen him in, but this is probably one of his standout performances. At number 11, I have Ratatouille. I might be a little biased because I'm more into making food and all that, but Brad Bird really makes this really great, charming, entertaining film centered around this rat, kind of taking control of this guy in this kitchen, this chef. And yeah, it's just really weird, fun entertainment that I really like. Just maybe, like I said, maybe because I like making food. But yeah, overall, really great performances. Brad Bird, not his best Pixar film. We'll get to that in a little bit, but definitely really good. At number 10, I have WALL-E. This stylistically was a much more different Pixar film than I was expecting. I mean, there's not really any dialogue for the first hour or so, and then you're just following this little robot WALL-E on his journey across, space. And it's really interesting, even though there is no dialogue. You don't really need the dialogue in this film, I feel. At number 9, I have The Incredibles 2. I'm not going to talk about this too much because I literally just posted a review for it. So if you want my full thoughts on that, go head on over to there. But yeah, this is a very solid sequel. We waited 14 years for it. It's not as good as the original, but it's definitely a very good sequel. It is a very good Pixar film. At number 8, I have Monsters, Inc. Sully and Mike are some of my favorite Pixar characters, growing up even till today. So just their journey with Boo, as they're, crazy going through doors, doing all this crazy stuff with scares. Just the whole scare element. I guess there is maybe a little bit of horror elements, not really though, because it's Pixar. But yeah, just this whole journey that they go on with this kid. It's just really entertaining. Mike Wazowski and Sully are some of the best characters that Pixar's ever made. At number 7, I have Inside Out. This is Pixar's attempt at diving into the whole emotions and how, understanding your emotions, which definitely is a film that we need in this day and age, helping people understand their emotions. And it doesn't matter how old you are. You can watch it with your kids, help them understand how they're feeling. You can watch it as a teenager, because it's perfect for that, going through puberty. And then even as an adult, you're still trying to figure out your emotions as an adult. And I feel like this is a really important film. It's fun, it's entertaining, it's got laughs, it's got, sad moments. But yeah, definitely a very good Pixar film for all the ages. At number 6, I have Toy Story 2. This is a film I don't think I appreciated as much when it came out when I was younger, but as I grew up, I actually liked it even more, just maybe because of nostalgia, and it pulls on your heartstrings, especially that whole scene with Sarah McLachlan's song playing with Jessie, and that really sad montage that could make anybody cry. And like even then, it just makes you feel bad about how I left my toys behind. But yeah, that's a great story, Jessie. It's an amazing sequel. It's one of the better sequels probably ever put out. At number 5, I have Finding Nemo. I actually already reviewed this over on Ryan O'Toole's channel with him, so I'll put the link in the description for that if you want my full thoughts. But yeah, I really like the vast ocean, all the different color schemes, the very interesting, compelling story, finding, Dory and, trying to find Nemo in this film. It's just like a really great coming of age. If you're a kid, you're going to like it. If you're an adult, you'll probably like it even more, especially if you have kids. But it's like another one of those classic Pixar films that can be seen by any of all ages, and you can enjoy it in some way or fashion. It doesn't matter which way. At number 4, I have Coco. I may be a little biased because of my Hispanic heritage, but I just love all of the themes and the love and dedication it gives the Mexican heritage. The themes of death, family, and just the music all around the look of this film. It's so vibrant with colors. Remember Me won an Oscar this year, and it's definitely worthy of winning an Oscar. I mean, when he sings that song to Grandma Coco at the end of the movie, I was no good. That whole part was just so sad in that moment, just after everything had built up in that scene. It's just very emotional. Probably one of my top 3 or 4 most emotional moments watching a Pixar film. At number 3, I have Toy Story 3, the supposed end of the Toy Story franchise until they announced the Toy Story 4. This was a great way to cap off this trilogy of films, with Andy going to college. We've really grown up with this whole cast of characters, and that, most people that grew up with them were in college at the time too. So it was really perfect, pulls on the nostalgia, pulls on the heartstrings. Several moments in this film are just amazing, especially the scene where they look like they're about to die. There's also stuff at the end when, he gives his toys to that girl at the end. It's just one of those really perfect Pixar films. Great way to end the series until the 4th one comes out next year. At number 2, I have The Incredibles. This is not only just Pixar's attempt at doing superheroes, but also dealing with superheroes with families and their dynamic, and dealing with family problems, which is usually not the most interesting, most usual thing you'd expect out of a superhero movie, but it works really well here. Brad Bird really created this great superhero film. It's one of the better superhero films that aren't non-Marvel DC or so. And it's just it's pretty much got great aspects in everything. It's got great superheroes, it's got a great voice cast, it's got great entertainment, great comedy, perfect for all ages. That's why I think this is one of the most entertaining Pixar films to date. And at number 1, I have Toy Story, the film that started it all. It was groundbreaking back then, with its technology and its toys with emotion. Technology still that holds up to this day. If you go back and watch Toy Story now, it still looks pretty great. But it builds so many great characters that are iconic. You got Buzz Lightyear, Woody, Mr. Potato Head, all these characters that started this whole Pixar thing off. And it actually made you care about your toys and what happened to them, and it made you wonder if your toys really came to life when you weren't around. And I think that's really cool, and it's really fun, entertaining, even to this day. If you go back and watch Toy Story now, it's still a great film with great voice cast, great emotional characters, built this whole entire world, built franchises out of it. Pixar's first film. If it wasn't a hit, we wouldn't have these other 19 films. And that's probably at least partially why I still think this is my favorite Pixar film to date. So yeah, that was my quick ranking of all 20 Pixar films to date from worst to best. All of them are still pretty good films. None of them are really horrible or anything. I still like them all to varying degrees. Like I said at the beginning, definitely let me know what you think are the worst and best Pixar films. You can leave a whole ranking in the comments down below if you really want to. I'd love to talk about Pixar films with you. I love Pixar films. I look forward to finding out what you think are the best and worst Pixar films. But until the next time, I'll see you guys later.